Hello, welcome. We are very happy to see you here. Even though it was difficult to wait for you, but I believe that it was much more difficult to come here. You were traveling from Budapest. Yes, right. This is your microphone.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, because we are having this camera person and.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was supposed to be like a 2.5 hour trip, and it turned into a 4.5 hour trip. Yeah.
Yeah, seems lovely.
Nice. Yes.
The countryside and everything. The weather is beautiful. You had beautiful views. You enjoyed it a lot. And you are traveling back. I suppose you're leaving in at 8. So
yes.
Get ready. We can go and grab a beer afterwards. So you get ready.
Okay.
Yeah. Perfect.
Cool.
Okay. You are here to talk about Central and Eastern European Online Library. That is a long name.
COL for short. COL.
COL, COL for short. Can you, at the beginning, can you tell us something like in a nutshell, in 3 sentences, what's that? And then I'll leave the floor just for you.
Yes, COL stands for Central and Eastern European Online Library, and this is basically a repository of journals, e-books, and grade literature from and about Central, Eastern, Southeastern Europe. And well, I'll go into that later. So that's the short. That's the short
version.
Yes, the short
got
version.
Everything in the presentation.
Yes.
Very professional. Okay, so the floor is yours.
Thank you so much.
And Be Representative will be sharing a video of you later.
Okay, perfect.
So you can use that.
Thank you so much.
For any other purposes. Enjoy your talk.
Thank you so much, and thank you for inviting me, and thank you for waiting for me. I really appreciate it. Yes, I had a very long trip here, but it was interesting because I was in the same compartment with a young girl who was writing a paper for her university class, and she was trying to research something, but she had very bad connection on the train, and I helped her out, and she was writing the paper about Haydn and intellectual property issues around Haydn, and how chaotic it was back then. And intellectual property and copyright comes hand in hand with the dissemination of knowledge and getting one's thoughts and ideas and literary production out there. And I think when we think about that, what almost immediately comes to mind is the dominance of the English language in that. So in the cultural, literary, scholarly, scientific dissemination of these productions anywhere in the world. And if you look at the first slide, we said fostering native language, social science, and humanities publications from and about Central, Eastern, and Southeast Europe, which was from the very beginning a very important mission of COL. Sort of not necessarily fight the dominance, because it's like fighting the windmill, but just have a repository that have all these wonderful journals, ebooks, and great literature in the original languages, searchable, indexed, deep archive of all those journals and everything that we collected together in this repository. Now it worked. Now it doesn't. Down arrow. Thank you. Yes. Okay. So just really shortly, COL is the leading provider of academic e-journals, e-books, and great literature from the region, and we disseminate this knowledge to all the subscribing institutions and their patrons, and we also have access for individual users who just want to they are not affiliated necessarily with a university or any kind of research institution, but they would like to have an individual account. They can also do that. Through the platform, the publishers can reach new audiences and disseminate their knowledge through this collective platform. Currently, it's not the most current numbers. It's a little higher now, but roughly this is the numbers. I can show you. We have almost 1,500 publishers. almost 3,000 journals, and if you look at the article level, it's more than 1 million articles that we have in COL, and more than 10,000 ebooks as well. And grey literature is also growing. Does everybody know what grey literature is? Okay, yeah, it occurred to me that maybe I should just quickly say that this is basically all the publications that are not published by commercial or academic publishing houses, but like government agencies produce something, basically things that don't have an ISBN. So like pamphlets, working papers, any kind of like conference proceedings sometimes. And we also collect those from the region and digitize them from the region with the Bavarian State Library. So we have a cooperation with the Bavarian State Library, and through that, this is how this part of the collection is growing. This is just a slide to show you that from the very humble beginnings, it's not the very beginning because we are 25 years old, so it's not from the very beginning, but we only had like 300 journals, and now it's, as you can see, it's almost 3,000 journals what we have in COL. And basically in the very beginning, how it started is that our founders, I'll talk a little bit about the company just later, they really wanted to, when they wanted to start this platform, they just sat in their cars, they went down to they live in Germany, in Frankfurt, Germany. So they just drove the car all the way down to Tirana, they went to all over the region, and they met with publishers, and they started telling them about this idea to having their publications, their journals, originally just journals, in this collective platform. And this is how it started, and they started helping these publishing houses to digitize their print publications from previous decades, where it was all obviously in print format. So this is how it grew, and actually what I also wanted to say is that, just forget, so COL is the sort of the successor of a cultural center that was in Frankfurt. So before there was COL, there was a cultural center called Palais Yalta, and it operated between 1989 and 2003, I believe. And this was a cultural center that held conferences, invited intellectuals, politicians, writers, artists from all over Central, Eastern, Southeastern Europe to Germany, and to start conversation with their German counterparts. And when that came to an end, the same guy who's our founder, he was the head of that cultural center. And somehow he thought about how to continue this conversation between these cultures and languages, and he came up with the idea to have this repository. So this is basically how it came about. This is just a breakdown of the journals by country. As you can see, we are very heavy on Poland. So there are a lot of publishing houses from Poland who are very eager and continuously uploading their journals, articles, ebooks, everything to the platform. And Latvia is lagging behind a little bit with like 9 journals. But I actually went to Latvia 2 weeks ago. I was invited by the Latvia Literary Platform to amend this thing. So we have a very clear focus on humanities, social sciences, literatures from Central, Eastern, Southeastern Europe. So we don't have hard sciences, we don't have like engineering or anything else. It's humanities, social sciences, what we collect. As I said, from the very beginning, it was part of COL's mission to foster language diversity of the scientific research on humanities and social sciences, and have a place where all those journals that had not a chance to be included in like English language dominated platforms to have their work there, to have it disseminated to university and research libraries and individual users all over the world who were looking for primary sources in original languages. Of course, we have English language and German and others as well, but we are very keen on collecting these collections from the region. And In the beginning, as I said, it was journals, just a collection of journals, and later, about 10 years ago, we started collecting ebooks as well and adding ebooks to the collection, and it's been growing quite rapidly since then. We have paid ebooks, and open access is also available through the website, which is always an interesting question. Why would you want to have your open access books on a different platform? Because it's a platform that makes it visible and available to a lot of users all over the world who would not necessarily find that open access journal or open access book on your website or anywhere in the online space. Yeah, this is just the second part of that slide. So, as I said, from the very beginning, COS started to support the publishers to have a deep archive for their journals. So, helped with the digitization of previous print issues to have a complete coverage from the beginning to the very recent issues. Okay. Currently on the webs on COL, we have 8.5 million sessions a year and roughly 43 million events. So an event being when someone just clicks on the website and then they just probably leave or don't necessarily spend too much time on it. A session is something where they actually are engaged with the content. They stay there, they download something, they create an account. So it's much more substantial than an event. So through these cooperations that we have with leading universities in 25 countries all over Europe, from the United States, UK, Asia, a lot of countries, we have universities subscribing to COL. We are able to help these journals and books be accessible to 2.5 million library patrons who are using COL in their institutions or at home. Okay. This is just a slide for the publishers, why it would be good for them to be included. For the scholarly journals, definitely, this is a very key point for them to be available through these discovery services. And we also work with Clarivate Web of Science, so all their editors have access to COL, and this is how they can help their science community. We also have a very growing number of individual registrations, so people not necessarily affiliated with any kind of research institutions, but who would like to browse these articles and books on the platform. This is just, I'm not going to go into very much detail. I guess not many librarians are here, so I'm not going to tell you why it's fantastic for you to have access to. But as you can see, there's quite a few reasons why it would be important for a library to have access to COL and subscribe. And now, this is what I should have started with, because I am the head of the publishing house. So COL, the platform, is behind me, and they are a fantastic group of people that I've been working with. As I said, I'm going to come back to that. So the headquarters of COL are in Frankfurt, Germany, and we have country coordinators all over Central, Eastern, Southeastern Europe. And these country coordinators help COL with the development. They are in touch with the publishers. They help them to make sure that everything, all the data, all the current issues are up to date and not missing anything from that. And these people also help me a lot because I'm one person in this publishing house, and I really rely on their knowledge in their own distinctive countries. When we started COL Press, before we started COL Press, I come from an academic publishing background. So I was the head of Central European University Press for 7 years. I worked there altogether 17 years. So that was academic publishing in English language. That was my background. And when I left my previous position and I started working as a freelancer, as a translator and editor, and I worked for other publishing houses, and that's when the founders of COL approached me. I had known them before because we basically went to the same conferences as vendors and met there in the United States and in other places. So they came to me and they said that COL has been around for so long, and it has been a natural development of adding first journals and then ebooks and great literature published by others. And they came up with the idea that it would be so nice to have some original content created by COL. And we started talking about, and then basically at the beginning of 2020, we launched the publishing house. Well, the timing was not great. We launched it in March 2020. I think we all remember what else happened in the world in March 2020. So that was a very unfortunate timing. But it wasn't that bad for us, because since we are affiliated with COL, which is an online library, it made sense that in the first 1.5 years, we had our book events, workshops, and other events online. So the first, oh, and I even brought some books, sorry. Show you the very first book that we did, which had this. So this is the very first book that we did. I think it's on the bottom left corner as well, which is called Recipes for a New Beginning, Transylvanian Jewish Stories of Life, Hunger, and Hope. And this was the first one, and for this one, we had many online book events, and it went well. I mean, we could give a lot of visibility to the book, and the promotion went well, but it was still very nice when after 3 years being in publication, we could take the author to New York, and she could promote the book there in person. So that was a different story. So basically, the idea behind COL Press, my little love child, was that to have a publishing house, not a scholarly, not an academic publishing house, but still a publishing house that would have these books from Central, East, Southeast Europe, partly for scholars, and also, and more stressed, I would more stress this other part, for the educated reading public. So we offer this partnership for publishers and authors who would like to get this global recognition and distribution of their titles. And just like COL, we are a multilingual publishing house, but I would say that 80% of our books are published in English. So we are not against publishing in other languages, very contrary. So we have books in Romanian, we have books in French, we have books in other languages as well. But as sort of a natural development of the publishing house, more and more books are coming out in English. The scholarly titles that we publish, most of the time the authors come to us with an English language manuscript. So, and for the literary titles, obviously the authors of these books would like to have their books translated to English, German, and other languages as well. Okay, so in the very beginning, I was blessed and sort of cursed with this freedom that my bosses gave me. They said, just publish whatever you want. And this is like, oh my God. So for some time, I was just sitting at home and I wanted to publish everything and nothing at the same time. So it was really, really hard. And of course, when you are a small publishing house, a niche publisher, you really want to have a very clear identity. You want to be able to tell the world who you are, and you just don't want to get into too many different subject areas and focus on too many things, because that's impossible. And since I come from I was trained as a literary scholar, I really wanted to have literature added to the list. Previously, when I was working for this academic publishing house, there was no place for that there. So my idea was to have contemporary and classic literature and translation. That would be one thing, that mostly novels and short stories. And this is there are some examples of it, like Mission to Ram by Oleg Popov, who's a Bulgarian author, unfortunately passed away a little more than a year ago. And Orgy by Gábor Zoltán, who's a Hungarian author. These are all contemporary literary works that we translated to English, and we are promoting all over the world. So the first two are some examples of the scholarly monographs and edited collections that we also do. There, the focus areas are mostly history, political science, education, Jewish studies. We have a little bit of anthropology, but we don't really want to go beyond these. This is especially Jewish studies and history are coming together very nicely. We are building a list and getting recognized for that, just like for the contemporary literature in translation. And we also have some general interest nonfiction titles, just like this one I showed you, which actually is a very interesting hybrid book, a collection of recipes, an oral history title, with lots of scholarly research behind it, with lots of interviews. Basically, the author wanted to interview Holocaust survivors and ask them about their childhood. And they didn't really want to open up. They didn't want to talk about that. And then she's also from Transylvania. And she started cooking with them. She was like, I have no idea what my grandmother used to cook. And can you show me some recipes that are very favorite of your grandparents and very liked in your family? So and through those cooking sessions, they started to talk about their childhood, their experiences during the war and after the war. And this is how this wonderful book came about. So this is an example of this general interest nonfiction titles that we are trying to do. We also have autobiographies. We recently published, and I think I brought a copy here to show you guys. Oh, yes, I did. Okay. It's Patrick Banga's autobiography that we did. It came out the beginning of this year. Yeah. Yeah, I think Francis told me. So this is also a part of it. And just in a nutshell about the publishing activity, we publish books in e-book. Well, when we started the publishing house, basically my colleagues in Frankfurt, they wanted to have e-books only. And I wasn't sure about that, especially for literature. I didn't think it would be a good idea to have only e-books. So we have everything. All the books that we publish are in COL and actually in ABSCO and ProQuest now as well, because we started working with them recently. And they are available in e-book format. But also, I wanted to have print books, not just for the promotional purposes and having them as complimentary copies and review copies, but also to have like a select number of individual independent bookstores in the region and in the US and in the UK that would carry the books in print format as well. And for that, we have a print-on-demand system with with Ingram, which is basically the biggest distributor for print-on-demand books, and have a wonderful dissemination network to e-retailers, libraries, wholesalers. So basically, they can serve the whole community. And as I said, we have a growing number of independent bookstores in our region and also in Germany, UK, and US who would have our books on their shelves. So for marketing and publicity, we rely on review copies. We are trying to have a strong social media presence as well, organize book launches, have some advertising, which is less and less, but still direct mailing, and book fairs, festivals, and conferences where we try to be present. And for instance, we are going to the book is not here. A conference in the United States where we always go to. It's called ACES, which is the Association of Slavic, East European, and Eurasian Studies. And there we're going to have a book panel in November for a book that is not yet published by okay, Marek Torčik's book is coming out from us. So and I put a picture there because our author, Gábor Szántó, was just recently at the Jerusalem Writers Festival. I think, let me just see, yes, I covered basically everything. And I wanted to tell you that what I didn't say in the beginning, that COL was founded 25 years ago, so this is our 25th anniversary, and we are celebrating it this year in Prague. We have our annual group meetings. In the beginning, it was always in Frankfurt, and then we went to Belgrade, and then this year we decided to go to Prague. And we're gonna celebrate through various events, and one of them is going to be a book launch of this book in the Globe bookstore in about 2 weeks' time. So if any of you are going to be in Prague at that time, please show up. And I think it's going to be a very nice event with music and everything. So this is basically it.